What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Double J's Garage. Jalen here. I just wanted to take a couple of minutes and make this clip before we get into the video. This video gets kind of scatterbrained. We jump around quite a bit as far as progress goes on the car, and it can get a little bit confusing. So I'm going to do my best to do some commentary and commentate certain areas of the video where it's needed, so I can explain what we're doing and why. One example is, we button the car up as far as the wiring goes, and then in the next clip, we're completely pulling everything out to install a PDM. So I'm gonna do my best to explain what's going on in the video because it's kind of scatterbrained. I took these clips over the course of about 2 months, and now we're just kind of mashing everything together to make a video, basically, wrapping up the CRX's build. But just wanted to take a couple minutes and explain what's going on and let you guys know I'm going to do my best to commentate and, just make everything make sense. So I really appreciate you guys for watching. Let's get into the video.
Woo! So quick little update. I got my cluster done. This needs to turn a little bit, but still got to tweak the gauges and get everything looking like just right, exactly how I want it. But I'm super stoked on the way it looks so far. I think it looks really cool. And I also got my base plate for the shifter mounted, so super stoked about that too. Now I can get the staging brake mounted on there. The first second gear lockout showed up today. Fifth gear lockout is here, so we're gonna have a fully built stout shifter box set up. Are you pooping over there? Are you pooping over there? Yeah? Okay. But yeah, got the shifter box fully mounted up. I'm not gonna have to take it off anymore at this point, but I do have to mount the staging brake and stuff to it, so we'll do that later down the road. But this is really what I wanted to get done today, and I'm super stoked that I was able to do that. So next, we've got a fuse panel that's going to go in there, and I have another piece of plastic or ABS, whatever the hell this stuff is, but got another piece of this. Basically what we're going to do is take a piece of cardboard and put it in here, make a good template with it. So we'll basically chop this down, trim it down to fit in here really nicely, and then that will be just basically a full block off panel. And then we're going to mount our switchboard in there, and then really I don't know what else I got to do as far as the dash goes. I mean, I'm going to pull the dash all the way back out because all of the wiring and stuff in the fuse box that's under there is all going to come out. I'm going to relocate it under there where the ECU is at. And then we should be able to get rid of basically most of the chassis harness. Cluster is all going to be, RPM, water temp, oil pressure, and then the shift light. There's nothing else going to be in there. No blinkers, no hazards, nothing like that. We'll wire in taillights and headlights because that's really all we'll need, but we'll put those on the switch, switch panel. So super stoked with how far everything is coming. Super solid. Just a little bit more work to do, but I'm going to get out of here because baby girl's getting grumpy, and it sounds like she may have pooped again, so going to get on the road. Sound good, big girl? Sound good, big? Oh, man. I hope you didn't poop, because if you pooped, then it's all squished in your cheeks now. Oh, well. Love you, baby girl. We going. All right. Got a quick little update on the car. We put in 5-6 hours on the car, but we made quite a bit of progress. As you guys can see, staging brake is mounted. We got the first, second gear lockout mounted. So when we flip that up and then we pull back, it clicks and then no longer allows the shifter to go back over towards first or second gear. So that'll save us from doing the infamous 1-2-1. And then we've got a fifth gear lockout to save us from that that three to five shift. I mean, I guess there's no fifth gear in this trans because it's a dog box 4-speed, but no blank fifth gear. So we've got our safety precautions to help us get down the track. We also got this like ABS plastic panel installed. Super stoked with the way it fit. It looks halfway decent, so I'm okay with that. I'm going to install our switch panel into here, AFR gauge, any other gauges that we need to put in. Obviously, we've got our tack, our shift light, water temp, oil pressure, got our steering wheel installed. Yeah, we've made quite a bit of progress. I also made a mount for this ABS plastic, I don't know, ECU holder deal, but cleaned up the inside of the car quite a bit. It's actually starting to look like a race car now. But me and Tango are going to get out of here for the day. Just wanted to do a quick little video update on the car. So stay tuned, more progress coming soon. We have an event here on the 8th, and I'm doing everything in my power to make it. So that's where we're at. So unfortunately, my daughter had surgery, so we weren't able to make that event. I ran throttle cable, and I started hooking up the harness. So just need to get an O-ring for that injector, get a set of plugs. I need to vacuum out the butt connectors that fell into the cylinder, and then should be able to button this thing up. But the CRX is making a ton of progress. Been working super hard on it. Hoping to get it out here in the next month. Feeling pretty confident. I think we can do it. So here is the chassis harness that we pulled out of the car. I got there the next day and decided that I was going to switch over to a PDM. And here you can see what the car looked like after we pulled all of that BS out. Looked great. Hey, what are you doing? You want to tell them everything we've done? You're going to leave it to me. Okay, I'll do it. Got the CRX up on the lift right now. Take a look at some of the work that we got to do. All of this stuff has been tightened up and should be good to go. We may have to adjust the camber kits a little bit here and there. But later, we're actually going to be pulling out the stock fuel tank because we're going to be running a 1-gallon fuel cell either on this side right there or on this side right here. We can really do either or. I have the fittings to run the lines to either side. It just really depends on how much space we're going to have. We are getting rid of the full-size Speed Factory tuck radiator, and we are going to do the half-size CSF drag radiator. So that's going to clear up quite a bit of space right here. So we actually may probably do it on that side because I want to run an external fuel pump and stuff too. So that is the plan as far as that stuff goes. But I just kind of wanted to take a look under here really quick, just kind of see the condition of everything. We're going to pull apart the front suspension again because it all needs to be replaced. Ball joints are in bad shape, bushings are crusty and old, so we're going to get some new lower control arms with spherical bearings. We're going to rebuild the knuckles and just, redo all the bushings. We've got axles in the car, half shaft, all that stuff is in and hooked up. One of the major things I do need to bring up though is I actually have to pull the swap back out and I need to notch the subframe right here so that way the swap will sit in here correctly. Got the water pump mounted and stuff. The CSF half size that I got will ultimately work with all of the dash 16 threaded in stuff, so it should just plumb right in without any issue. What else have we gotten done? Well, you see all the wiring. I built a harness for the car's accessories and stuff like that. Everything is plumbed and operational. Super stoked on that. But yeah, the car has come quite a long way since the last video. I want to bring the car down and okay, so got some slips on the car now. Car's got good wheels and tires so I can roll it around. I know that's not a huge update. It's not hard to put wheels on it, but one thing that I wanted to mention, car for the first time in 10 years has a hood. I've owned this car for almost 6 now, or maybe about 6 now. I've known about the car for 5, maybe 6 years before that. So it's been in my life since 2012 or so. And it's never had a hood. So finally the car has a hood. We got these sick quick release hood latches. They're the nice big 2.5-inch ones. I didn't want to run the small ones up front, but we are going to run the small ones up here in the back. We're going to get rid of the hood hinges. I just wanted to line up the front hood pins using the latches in the back so everything lines up nice. So for the first time in a long time, the car has a hood that works. So that's pretty cool. The entire harness is hooked up and wired. Technically, we could start the car. If I put power to the PDM, the car would fire up, but I'm just not ready for it yet. There's a few other things that I want to take care of first, and I want to get the engine sealed up properly as far as like the water system and the fuel system goes. So I think I'm going to wait a little bit on first fire just because I know everything in here runs and I know it's all in good shape. So there's no rush for it. But fuel system is complete and plumbed up right now. We are going to be changing it a little bit, but as of right now, it's good to go. Dog box is hooked up, harness is hooked up, fans are ran, everything has been plumbed. We've got a bumper on the car. It is pushed out because of that Speed Factory radiator. So once we get that half-size radiator, that's going to free up quite a bit of space. We've been working really hard on this thing, man. I'm super stoked on it. I've got all the gauges and stuff inside of the car working. So really quick, come over here. Just kind of got this rigged up just for test reasons, but show you guys. This first one powers my lights, or sorry, my gauges, my cluster. So all of that stuff will power on. That right there is a shift light, so that really only comes on when I'm hitting limiter. Then I've got my fans, and then I believe this is my water pump. Yep, I could hear it. Then this is going to be my fuel pump. I got to switch it over. Right now I've got the fuel pump on this one, but you hear that regulator screaming. So that's fuel pump. Fuel pump works, and then we're going to swap these two over. This will be my fuel pump, and this will be like my auxiliary lights, like my headlights and running lights and stuff like that. But all the switches work, which is super awesome. This I'm actually going to take out of the car just because it's got a weird story to it. Long story short, there was a kid in our friends group that's not really one of our friends anymore. He's just kind of a fuck up. If you're watching this, Cameron, get your shit together, and I hope you do get your shit together. If you come at me sideways, you're going to find out. But pulling this out of the car because I really don't want it in here. I don't want any part of Cameron in this car, I guess. He ripped a bunch of people off and then had no intention of paying them back, so they kind of parted this car out a little bit. It was up here for some work, and yeah, it's just a long, murky story. But long story short, we're going to be switching to a different staging brake. I'm going to throw that back in Cameron's car just because I don't want that bad juju on me, and I want a staging brake with a reservoir on it. So we'll be getting rid of this. We got some fucking bullshit that we got to put back. Let's get this motherfucker tossed back in there. Boom and boom. We got to get power to the PDM. So basically there's a thick power wire back here with an eyelet on it. And we just got to run our battery box in the back, come over here and basically just trim the wire down, put the eyelet on it, connect it. Once the PDM has power, the Haltech will have power. And then we can really do our first startup. All right, so I'm getting ready to do some stuff, and I figured I'd whip the camera out and film a little clip. So this is the battery box that I bought for the CRX. My goal was to mount the battery here, like under the fender / bumper area, basically right in here. right under there and mount it, you know, somewhere like here. You know, drag car style, the way that all the fast drag cars do. But the battery box that I bought was too big. So what I'm going to do is cut it down to size. I've already put the battery in there, traced around it, traced basically what I need to cut out. And I'm going to cut this little section out, and then I'm just going to re-weld it together to basically fit Honda battery. So I'm going to cut it down really quick. I've got my welder around here somewhere, and we're just going to modify this battery box to fit for us. All right, so I just showed you guys all the gauges, all that stuff works, everything in the cluster works. For the first time in, 10 years, this car has a hood. And it actually is mounted, so I've got 4 push locks. They seem to be pretty sturdy. That one, this one. This guy, whoa, going down. So, real quick, I'll lift the hood off. That side didn't come off over there, or pop back on. Oops. So, as you can see, we got a hood mounted. The harnesses ran completely. I fabbed up a battery box, and we have power to the car. Really, all I need for the car to run is an OBD2 alternator, a D or B series alternator. We need that one because it has the square plug, and we need the square plug. So once we get a D or B series OBD2 alternator, I'll get that and then measure for a belt. I have a radiator cap. I've got my battery on this side, so I'll probably do the fuel pump and stuff and the fuel tank on that side. I'm thinking about doing the Speed Factory universal one that comes up with a filler neck right there. So we'll do like a 1 gallon fuel cell, and then we'll do an external fuel pump. We'll run all of our fittings directly to the rail from right there, so that'll make that nice and easy. We really just need a weight plate. We need a weight plate. I need to get a dressing kit for the valve cover. I just need these little grommeted bolts and put a radiator cap on it, but I'm really not worried about that until I get the half size. Yeah, we're super close with the CRX. This thing could fire right now. I would have no issue. I don't think I would have any issues firing this thing right now. I know I do need to add a ground to the trans and a ground off the engine, so a couple of grounds, but this thing would run. I'm just trying to get the tack figured out before I do all that, so that way I can tell how many RPMs the car is turning, and then we're gonna put it on the dyno, see what it does. All right, so we're plumbing in the CSF half-size radiator. I think this is where it's gonna sit for the time being until we get a 3-piece. Connects right to our water neck. 90s directly into the radiator. We are gonna get another female on female 90, a little lesbo 90, and it's gonna tie directly into the water pump like so, and then the water pump is gonna 90, or the fitting out of the water pump will 90 back towards the water pump plate, and then we're just gonna run a -12 line. So -12 directly into this into that 90 for the water pump, directly into the radiator up to the filler neck. But sadly, we are gonna have to wait for some parts before that is gonna be able to be finished. but it looks good.
Comb around it.
No, Fira's got the cone around her neck. Kind of dramatic. Make sure we don't have any fuel leaking anywhere. No fuel leaking anywhere. All right, well, let's try and start it. Back up. Watch out, girls. Let's see. Fuel. So you'll notice when I press the start button that all of my gauges dim down and it seems like the power cuts off. It sounds like the car is struggling for power and dying, and that's because
Give it a boost.
the battery was grounding through my shifter cable. That shifter cable on the right ended up getting super hot, and I ended up burning it up. So I added a couple of more grounds, which fixed the issue. The car fired up right away with no hesitation after I had done that, but I was a little late on figuring out what the issue was before I melted a perfectly good shifter cable. Okay.
Hey, bud. Hey, dude. Oh, you're stepping on me. You're stepping on yourself.
Like it's not getting enough juice. So right after this clip, I had figured out what was wrong, and you can see the difference when I press the start button in this next clip.